In this video, we're converting our throttle body injected small block Chevy 350 to carbureted, and we're also throwing some speed parts at it for 1,500 bucks. Man, that's cheap! All right, so at this point, we're ready to take the intake manifold off. I just got on it and just, yep, there it goes. Looking like she's about to be free. Oh, come on. Oh, this is kind of annoying. There we go. Awesome. There it is. Yeah, literally the difference is because these are what were these at, like 45-degree angle or something like that?
Yeah, somewhere close to that.
So because that's literally the only thing that they changed from the early TBI,
yeah,
pre-vort, like all that stuff. Yeah,
like here, you know, like that.
Yep, but they just changed the angle a little bit. But we'll actually go grab our intake and show you how they changed that with this aftermarket intake to actually make that intake work for this head.
The other big thing that really negatively affects the flow on these engines is stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like when you start coming to your intake port, you do not want that there because of there's not enough meat there with the way these heads are. You can't roll that back with a burr.
Yep.
You're going to find yourself into water or intake valve or whatever, and that's kind of why these heads are less than desirable. I mean, you don't want. The best you could do there is just kind of, you know, take a little bit of burr and like take the roughness off there, and then take a sander wheel and just smooth that out. But you know, you cannot make that a straight intake runner.
Well, you actually want to grab the light and show us what else we got going on inside the valve and how we lose a lot of airflow and or just flow in general.
Well, if you look down the intake runners, the way that valve is situated in that runner, you're only utilizing about half the surface area of that valve, which really hurts how much fuel and air you can cram into it, which ultimately, you know, will affect the output of the engine. So really, this engine with a bigger camshaft, you can stuff a big camshaft in it, but if you can't use more of the valve, you know, you're only shooting yourself in the foot.
Yep.
Basically, these cylinder heads, they just don't have the airflow, even of the earlier cylinder heads that were on the second generation small block Chevys.
This is the TBI intake that came off the truck. Believe it or not, that's actually an Eldebrock Performer intake. I didn't see that until I was cleaning up the engine in one of our previous videos. But, you know, it's cool. Yep, cool. Junk, throw it in the pile. If someone wants a TBI intake, that's, you know, an Eldebrock Performer, DM us. You know, maybe, you know, if we get popular enough and get enough subscribers, heck, maybe I'll just give it away. I don't know. I really don't care. But this is going to be the intake that we're putting on. Now, the brand name of this is a Speedmaster. It's kind of, Summit sells it. And basically, this is a Eldebrock RPM air gap intake manifold. Basically, they copied the design of it, so it's pretty much an off-brand Eldebrock intake. Your typical Performer ones are just your typical Performer ones, but this is technically it's a copycat RPM air gap. Which is supposed to help with flow and just be an overall better intake manifold. The problem with this intake manifold is that it's a little overkill for this engine, as we just discussed previously with the heads that are on it. But my idea is with this intake manifold, and we're going to get into it in a little bit, what you're probably wondering, and one of the things that I really wanted to point out, and obviously for the price point and what it was, this was like 200 bucks and change for this intake manifold. As the RPM air gap, it was like, I don't know, like 300 bucks or something. But what's really cool about these, if we go ahead and we want to spin it here, if the camera can pick that up, if you can see that or not, we'll go ahead and we'll zoom in a little bit for you. But as you can see, these are drilled, and if you notice, they're slotted too. So basically what they did, what Speedmaster did, and it was honestly kind of genius, if I can find, where did they go? Hello? Hello? Pull the intake right up to you. As you can see, the bolts here, our center bolts are slotted. Because as we discussed earlier, the cylinder heads on this engine, they changed the two, well it's actually be 4 on both sides, but they changed the 2 center bolt angles. So they're a little different. So what Speedmaster did was they elongated the bolt holes on their intake, and then they send you these, which these are basically little adapters that slide into that intake to change the angle of the way that the bolt goes in, which is really, really cool. So basically these are going to go ahead and slide in here like so, if I can even get it in there. Am I putting them in the wrong way? Probably. Nope, it was the other way. And basically that's going to go ahead and change our actual angle of how our center bolts go in. So basically the whole idea, like I said, I said it before and I'll say it again. This intake is a little much for this engine specifically, but what I really like about it is that we're going to be able to use it. It's going to help with our airflow, and then the carb that's going to go on is going to be overkill too, but who cares? But the whole idea with this whole setup is that when I go ahead and build my 383 later on down the road, guess what I can do with this intake? Poop, ploop, boom. It fits on your regular old school small block Chevy heads. Now I will say I have heard a lot of stories about guys just taking a regular intake manifold for the old school setup and just drilling and slotting these. I could have done that, but I just didn't want to. It just didn't seem like it was kind of the right thing to do. I'd rather go with an aftermarket product in which I kind of, have kind of a little bit more faith in their ability to elongate holes and actually make sure that it works. Because like I said, if you want to, if you are on an extreme budget, you can go ahead and you can buy yourself, say you wanted to put an Edelbrock intake on it. You can go ahead and buy the regular, normal Edelbrock intake, the Performer intake, and elongate the holes. And I believe you can actually buy the adapter separately. But I just figured that this was the better setup, simply because that it's actually a better intake. That's going to be more useful for us down the road when we're building the other engine. But for right now, all the parts are usable. And basically when I was putting this build together, the big thing that I wanted to do was make sure that if I wanted to use these parts, if I wanted to keep these parts on this engine, I could. But if I wanted to go ahead and be able to reuse them later on down the road, that's what we're going to go with. I guess one other thing that was pointed out to me that we can show you that's going to be really cool here to talk about is we talked how this is just a regular Edelbrock Performer intake. Obviously this is the special TBI one, but we can look at the port sizes. That's something to look at too for what your flow is going to be for everything. And I mean, like, it's kind of impressive. I mean, we can really get in here and show you this. Like, do we have devices of measurement to be able to show the difference in how much this guy's going to flow? So we'll go ahead.
These are crude ones. We do have more accurate means of measuring this stuff.
Okay, so that's what we got on that guy, and we can just drop right over here, and it's already
the ding.
Yeah, that is significantly more flow, and we're doing this. We're doing this 7 more times.
Go the other ways too, and just just show the port size difference. And we're looking at aftermarket's performance offering, versus other intakes, and just got to keep in mind.
Holy smokes! Yeah, look at that. That's significant.
The huge, which if you're really building for performance, you want to do port matching, and you're not going to buy something if you want to build a horsepower engine. You're not going to buy something out of the box and bolt it on an engine. Mm-hmm. You're going to take time, send to a guy that is very familiar with porting and doing port work and opening stuff up and smoothing it out. Because, I mean, that's where you really start gaining your horsepower and, your foot-pound torque advantage. And that's part of why you pay these engine builders big money for blueprinting and build an engine for you, because they have that knowledge.
Yeah, but in this case, I think it's going to work out, to a point. Like I said, the intake and the carb that we're putting on this engine is overkill. But you know,
We cannot take full advantage.
I'm sure it'll be just fine.
You put Vortec heads on that engine?
Probably, yeah. We make it some power.
It would be way more awesomer, but
the whole deal with tracking those down and just like I said, a lot of it is a time crunch. That truck is down, and I'd be lying if I said I was happy about that. So, and like I said, we have a big truck show coming up that hopefully we'll put a video together for and put it on the channel. But we have a big truck show coming up, and I want that truck to be there. So we're hustling and trying to get it done so we can have a completely different drivetrain in it. So it'll be there, be able to show it off a little bit. Now I will discuss it. There is some differences within castings between this and the Eldebrock RPM air gap, which I actually have the photos and the videos, which I'll throw into this video right now, just to show you the difference in some of the castings and whatnot. Like I said, we're going to be dropping this on the engine, and then our carb's going to be coming in. It's going to be a Brawler 650. We'll talk about the carb when it's time to put the carb on. But with that being said, let's get started on putting this guy into that engine. We're currently cleaning up the ports for the intake. You want to clean off all the old gasket material and whatnot to make sure they actually have proper sealage and won't have any leaks. And it's nice because he's sitting here doing it and I don't have to. So you have fun with that. And I'm just going to sit here and watch you do it. You're doing a great job. How much is your hourly rate again?
$150 an hour.
Oh, damn. That's expensive.
Take a look at this port match situation we got going on here.
Oh, this is going to be sad.
Now, there is numerous different intake gasket sizes you can order. We just preliminary throw it up to the intake. And to be honest with you, you know, she kind of matches up to the cylinder heads slightly better than the intake. And that is one performance advantage you can gain if you port match the intake gaskets to your cylinder head, and you can get a burr on there and just kind of blend everything in. It actually fits a whole lot better on the cylinder heads than I anticipated.
Well, these are the stock replacement gaskets too that we ordered, so they don't fit very well onto our intake. We'll actually walk over here and show you the fitment on the intake.
And this would be the way they would fit. You know, you just kind of line your holes up. Actually, that side's not horrible.
This side's not bad. I mean, we have a massive gap over here, but that's not. I mean, we could. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna use for our end gaps here the stuff that came with the Felt Pro. I went and bought some stuff, but this should probably do it, right? Maybe. Goop it pretty heavy in the corner there.
Make a nice snail trail for yourself.
Yep.
Back in the old days, they actually included rubber gaskets.
Yeah, no one used them though because they never worked.
Because they always squeezed out.
Yep.
Once they squeezed out, and you never sealed up good, and then all of a sudden you had all kinds of oil leaks.
Yep.
Yeah. No bueno.
Nobody wants that. So I'm going to be driving a truck that had 7 cylinders to now 8 and healthy, and I'm kind of excited about it. Yeah, looking good on that side?
Yeah, it looked lined up in the front.
Yeah, for another one, but that's, I mean, again, Chinese parts, but yeah, that bolt's actually rubbing up against that, so we might have to take that one out. I mean, yeah. Oh well, it'll be what it'll be. We'll figure it out.
A few moments later.
On that a little bit, but
yeah, I don't know. I'm not very happy about that. That fitment is kind of. Yeah, isn't it? Jeez. Let me just pull this guy right off. Oh boy. That doesn't look happy. Frustrating though. So it's pretty much right up against the head. It's up on the head on this. It's up against the head on this side.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's even gonna give us. That's not even gonna give us enough freaking clearance. So basically what we have to do is we have to pull that off. We have to shave that.
Mm-hmm.
That's really crappy. Alrighty, well here she is. She's ready to go. She is about to fire up for the first time. No. Nope, I lied. It's not. We ran into some problems last night. Few errors, calculations, math and stuff. A few things went wrong. We dropped the intake manifold on, and the big problem was I didn't really test fit it. I mean, I kind of like, yep, okay, that'll work. Took it back off and got our RTV out and started gooping it. Then put our intake manifold gaskets on, and then dropped on the old, the intake. Went to put the bolts in, and bolts were, they're going in. And then all of a sudden we have this massive gap on the driver's side of the engine. And we're like, why is this not fitting? Turns out that this intake, the runners are actually too long, and they're actually up against the cylinder head. Yeah, so I don't know what happened to this engine, or if it was, I don't think it was a miscasting in the intake. I think, this intake was made to have the longer runner, so it was, presumed to have a different set of heads on it. Different set of heads on the engine. So basically this intake doesn't fit. And there is a solution that we, are gonna have here, and it'll probably work. But we're gonna have to go ahead and we're gonna actually shave metal off of the cylinder heads in the 4 spots where the intake runners are going to be. So that means the intake has to come back off. Our intake gaskets also have to come back off. So yeah, I was hoping this would be straightforward and easy, but nothing's ever straightforward and easy for me. So we're just okay. Frustration. But so yeah, so now we get to take everything back off. I get to tape up the lifter valley and start grinding metal. Yep, that's cool. All right, let's just keep doing the thing. Yep, we're good. It's okay. I'm not mad. You mad? I'm mad. I'm furious. Okay, so after way too long, we're back where we originally started. Intake manifold is back on after we clearanced some stuff. And we're torquing these down 25 foot-pounds each. And taking it from there, just hopping from side to side. Trying to make sure that's torqued down evenly. I'm gonna go over off camera and double check them all, run them all back over, just make sure that we're happy. And intake is on, finally, yes. So here's where we actually had to clearance them. Took a burr and pretty much ground it down. This is not the one, this is the second one I used, but that's what we had to do. We had to basically make some room in order for that guy to fit on there, but I think our clearances are gonna be a lot happier now. And the intake is on the engine officially, so victory, let's keep rolling. Alrighty, so our intake is bolted down, finally. If you couldn't tell or not, our actual original valve covers that we took time to clean up are now on it. And when I was talking about some options, the Edelbrock ones look so good, and they actually make adapters to make these old ones fit. The only problem is they're like 80 bucks. I'm not spending 80 bucks just so I can put those valve covers on it. So these are going back on it for now. I was talking about maybe, at least for the bolts, I think I'm going to touch them up silver to kind of get the silver accent, because the whole idea here is this is going to have a silverish look to it. And then the headers are also going to be silver, and the air cleaner lid that we're going to be using is our Edelbrock one here, and that's silver. So I figured the silver and just kind of all the silver would accent, especially with our alternator and our tensioner and some of that stuff. So I think it's going to look pretty good, pretty happy with it. These are coming off, as I said before, so don't worry about that. But next thing we're going to be moving on to is we're going to be getting ready to put our oil pan on. So we're going to take this old girl and just whoop and flip it over, and that's what you're going to be seeing next. We're going to be slapping that on. And then at that point, we're pretty much waiting on our headers and carb. And I have to grab the distributor out of the other truck. We're going to have to block these 2 ports off here for coolant passages. We have our water neck that's over on the table. There it is. But we got to throw that one on yet. And yeah, we're moving. And within a weekend here, pretty much just about have this thing just about thrown together. We're still waiting on some more parts, but besides that, pretty much got to figure this whole deal out. And then we're moving on to that guy. But for right now, this is just the engine build video. Just wanted to show you guys what we got going on here. And whew, been some obstacles, but we made it through, so I'm happy about that. We're gonna be dropping our old oil pan off. By the way, figured I'd mention it. Intake bolts, the intake manifold bolts, we did put RTV on them, just so they set in there and nothing would leak out and all that good stuff. Just wanted to preference that now. So now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna drop off our old oil pan. These look like they're a certain bolt size that I'm sure matters. So yeah, we're gonna have to remove our oil filter adapter here in order to get the filter off, because it just is in the way. Is that actually the right size socket before I just send her home? Yeah, seems like it. Yep. Yep, and yep. Beautiful. And that should just come right off, right? Yep. Oh, look at that, there's oil in there. Who would have guessed? Not me. Here we go. Now for the truth, what does the bottom end of this engine look like? I'm sure I'm going to be very happy with what I'm about to see. Oh hey, that's an engine. That's neat. Teach us something, learn us something.
Yeah, we gotta change the oil pan out on this engine anyhow. But we pulled it off, and the gentleman that the engine was purchased from, he told us that it was when it was rebuilt, it was bored over and balance job was done. And here's our evidence of our balance job here. All these counterweights on connecting rods have been ground. You spin the whole assembly to do that, and basically that's how you would take meat off of the connecting rod caps to get your balance for your crankshaft. So she ought to be good for spinning some R's.
Good, because that's what she's going to be doing, kind of, sort of. Not really, a little bit. Yep, we'll find out. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do our front and rear main seals. We're going to have to pull off our crankshaft pulley along with our harmonic balancer. That's all going to have to come back off, and basically it's going to be easiest to do it while the engine's flipped upside down. But the other problem that we're going to have when we go to do the rear main seal is that it can't be on the engine stand. So we're going to have to get the cherry picker back on it, pick it up, and do that. But for right now, it's still on the engine stand. We can still easily access the front main seal, so that's what we're going to do first.
You know, you have a better feel for things. There she goes, she's walking now. Yep.
There we go.
One key thing you want to look for on there, make sure there's not severe grooves worn into that.
Oh, looks okay. There's one. I don't know if that matters or not.
Somebody might already put a speedy sleeve on it. Yeah, somebody put a speedy sleeve on that to repair it. There you go.
There she is. Yep. Somebody taking this out now?
Yeah, just be careful that, you know, like I said, try to keep any dirt or whatever from getting down in where you don't want it, so that way you get started. But once you get started, then you take the socket and kind of press it in. I usually just put them flush on the front side. Because that's the only way you got to gauge if that's square to what it's trying to seal. If you got a seal that's off square from where you're trying to seal, it's going to prematurely wear the seal out, and then you're going to have a leak.
Yeah. So that looking. That looks. I don't know. It looks a little out on the what would be the top yet. That is me.
Maybe just slightly.
So give it another smack on the bottom.
Yeah, it seems like it is just a bit.
That might have done it. No, kind of hard to tell.
Yeah. Should be pretty good.
Okay. And then we just need to drive on our harmonic box.
Well, the one thing I usually do is it's kind of controversial. I don't like a dry seal.
Yeah.
So usually what I'll do, I'll take a little bit of Vaseline and put it on that, so that way.
When it goes in, it's not.
Yeah.
We're gonna go for it. We're gonna go for it. You said that's the hard part is there's a million ways to do something, or someone else always has their own way of doing something, and it's just kind of a matter of what's worked for you.
Kind of what the controversy is about, any place where you put grease on a seal tends to attract dirt. And they're going to say dirt is prematurely going to make the seal leak.
Yeah.
But also in my mind, though, if you don't put some on there and you start spinning it, spinning against it when it's dry, it could tear the rubber.
Yep.
Well, not tear the rubber, but it'll pretty much harden the rubber, and then it's not going to seal off the angle.
Yeah. Go ahead and stick it back on.
Yep, still on the keyway up.
Go ahead and torque the outside ones, 35 foot-pounds. There we go. Double check them real quick. Yep. 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 Perfect. Now we just gotta do this. Alright, so we double checked our books, and that center bolt is supposed to be torqued down at 60 foot-pounds. So I'll go ahead and bump up our torque wrench here up to the old 6T. Little more, little more, little more. Oh, we got her now. Okay. Go ahead and get on that. Is that the right size? Yeah, it is. The whole engine's spinning over? No? Nope, now it is. I don't know if I'm going to be able to... Nope. I'm going to have to wedge that. Is this going to be difficult to do? Beautiful. Go ahead and double check it real quick. Just make sure that she is on there. She ain't going nowhere. Beautiful. To do the rear main seal, we had to take the engine off the engine stand. We have it on the cherry picker now. Basically what we need to do is we need to pull this flywheel weight off, and we need to get in there to the rear main seal. So it's just, yeah, obviously you have to have it on the cherry picker in order to pull the flywheel weight off and then actually get in there. So yeah, at this point, we're going to be pulling the flywheel off, and then we're going to be getting in there, and we're going to change that rear main seal. And then at that point, we pretty much need to throw our new oil pan on it with our oil pan gasket. And pretty much right where I wanted to be at the end of this weekend is where we're going to be, which is awesome. We still have some more speed parts on their way that you will be seeing in this video. But besides that, that is currently where we're at on our small block TBI budget build 350. So Robert made a whoopsies and stripped 2 out of the, 6 bolts? Yeah. Get out the grinder. Cut it. If it can go wrong, it's going wrong. But it looks pretty though, so at least I got that going for me. If I wiggle it back and forth enough, it should come right.
Yeah, I'll smack you right in the face.
Boing, yoing, 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 yoing.
Basically, all this rust here, you need to clean every last bit of that off there.
That's why with the
Scotch-Brite or, fine emery cloth.
okay. She's like, yeah, I know, I give up. Like, I know, I gotta come out today.
The only thing you gotta be very careful you don't fucking jam it in too far and smash the freaking sealing surface, because then you defeat the purpose. You follow up what I'm talking about there?
Yeah, no, I get that. It's like an art form, you know? Oh,
There she is.
goodbye.
Like that. That surface is kind of hard right there, and that's sometimes what they will not
What, this surface right here?
No, right here.
Oh,
That's
right
your
here?
sealing surface against your crank journal.
So basically, if that gets hard, that's where it starts leaking, because it will...
Yep.
Okay.
And that is
That's starting to get hard, so good thing that we're doing this. Which is, again, this is the exact reason why we're doing this. Because if we do it once, we should not have to do it again, right?
Unless we fuck it up.
Well, let's not talk about that. Okay? How about we not? Honestly, I'm kind of excited to see how this thing runs, because I got a feeling it's going to be a good runner.
Oh, it's gonna run good. There's no doubt about that. I mean, internals look healthy. It's a good engine. Guy put serious amount of coin into this thing. Back in the day. But you gotta take time to take care of the things that go wrong as things sit.
But now the feeler gauge part is for just getting this lip on, right?
Correct.
The back side here, which would be this side.
Some of them actually come with sealers that will expand that. Okay, push that side in a little bit. And as I'm going around, like, kind of push behind me.
Yeah, I'm trying to, but I don't think it's quite. Don't have enough fingers here.
That's that.
So there it is. Awesome.
That simple.
Wow, how about that? Alrighty, so front and rear main seals are in. And pretty much at this point it's oil pan and some other stuff, and we're done with the engine for now. Alright, so our old oil pan is off, and we're going to go through and we're going to chase all of the bolt holes, and then we're going to clean up all the actual bolts too.
Basically, we're going to want, like, that pickup about that far off bottom of the pan.
Okay.
1/4 to 3/8 of an inch.
You play it out here, or
Yeah, it's over in the toolbox. Yep.
right there?
Yep. I mean, you shouldn't have a problem.
I don't know. I think we should let it go. I don't wanna mess with it too much. If that's good where it is, because I mean that did compress quite a bit. We're just gooping it a little bit in the corners, right?
Yep.
look reasonably happy in position. So we agreed that the outer ones are going to be 18 foot-pounds. There we go. All right, so our center ones, we agreed, well, it's supposed to be technically like 8 foot-pounds, but we're going to convert that over to inch-pounds.
Yep.
So that's going to be, what, 96
Yep.
inch-pounds?
8 times 12.
There we go. Bam, there she is. It looks like we have good solid sealage on our corners too, because I see the RTV poking out a little bit, so that makes me a happy camper. Heck yeah, I think we are good to go. Oil pan installed. One other thing we're going to do while we have the engine flipped over is we're going to check our depth here for where our oil filter goes in. Since this one was the side shooting adapter, we're going to try to snag the adapter off our other small block so it can go back in on that truck. So we're taking a measurement just to see what our depth is. Okay, and then we have to go check another block. Here's another block. Let's find out. Oh, we're golden.
Same?
Yep, same exact size. Beautiful. So one thing that GM did do that it was kind of interesting in that we actually found out on this block, on the early TBI blocks, GM actually still casted in the spot for the mechanical fuel pump. And a mechanical fuel pump, the way that those work is there's actually basically like a lifter almost in a sense that actually runs off of one of the cam lobes on the camshaft. And that's what actuates the pumpage basically to actually make the mechanical fuel pump work. This block, fortunately enough for us, actually was still casted. So there's already the hole casted into the side of the block. So we can take our mechanical fuel pump off of our other 350 and throw it right on this engine. So that's going to save us money on a electric fuel pump and also a fuel pump regulator. So for a carburetor, we went with a Brawler 650. It's a single inlet. It is a double pumper, so you know, shoom, she's gonna just be just think about it, just wah, so much power. I don't have it bolted on, as you can see. I just set it on there for the looks and stuff. And then to help it out even a little bit more, headers. These are going to be Hedman headers. These now, again, these are not actually going to be black. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paint these silver with high temp because this is just the coating that they put on them when they send them from the factory. But headers, good carb, good intake on heads that will not be able to flow any of that, but who cares? Because sound from here, lots of it. Yep. Hopefully this combination works out really well. We're going to find out once we get in the truck and we get to test on it. Okay, so the carburetor we went with was a Brawler 650 CFM. This is going to be a little too much carb for what we actually want, but what I really liked about this carb is that it's a super affordable carb. From what I hear right out of the box, they're easy to tune, and they're pretty much almost ready to go right out of the box where you throw it on and you'll actually be able to fire up the engine and tune it. You don't have to mess with it before even trying to fire it up. There she is. Looks great, don't it? I'm very happy with it. So yeah, we have a bunch of other stuff that we got to figure out at this point. We need to get our Turbo 400 and NP208 deal figured out. I think we have the right adapter plate, which is the adapter plate that I got with the Turbo 400. The input shaft on the transfer case is a little bit different than the shaft that's coming out of the Turbo 400. So basically, we're gonna have to probably get a shaft, split a case, and put that shaft in, so then we can use our fresh Jasper rebuild Turbo 400 with shift kit, because we're gonna need it for all of this good stuff right here. 650 CFM of whopping power from the carb, and then that then that intake, and then we got the headers, you know, to sing the song of my people, and I'm I am thrilled. This has turned out to be just fantastic. I'm in love with all of it, and yeah, I like it. It's gonna be fast. Fast? Loud. Spin tires? Hopefully. 2, maybe? Maybe. We'll see. In this video, we're converting our throttle body small block injected. What are you doing? Where's the director to tell me how to, where's my cue card? Oh wait, I'm a one-man show. There is no cue cards. Well, that sucks. Damn! That's cheap. In this video, we're converting our throttle body injected small block Chevy. I was actually right. I just stopped talking. I'm too tired. I'm filthy. And I just want a shower. It's been a long day.